The idea of black freedom is the white man's unresolvable dilemma. Part 1. The idea of freedom is a white socially engineered concept to transition society from one form of slavery to another. Blacks were never given true freedom. Blacks were only made to believe that whites had become better people and have changed from their evil slave master ways. They thought that if they gave blacks an artificial sense of freedom, everything would be all right. What they did not know is this false propagandizing of freedom would come back to haunt them forever and bite them in the ass. For example, the next time that a white cop pulls you over, tell him black people were freed by Abraham Lincoln's signing of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865, so why are you trying to regulate me if I am free? He will tell you that you are under his government, constitution, state, city, or municipality. In so many words, you are under white institutions or documents signed by your former slave masters, his progeny, and black flunkies, i.e. fiduciaries. He will say that no one is free, not even him. He will say everybody is under something or somebody. He will state that the idea of true freedom is anarchy, chaos, disorganization, mayhem, and lawlessness, like the third world country where he saved your black ass from swinging from trees, by bringing you over here to hang from trees. He will say that freedom is not a real or rational idea. He will show you how he fears black freedom, or what a society looks like that supports freedom, and any independent black organization or otherwise that establishes itself for the cause of manifesting true human freedom will be considered a cult or homegrown terrorist and destroyed by predominantly white-ran law enforcement and intelligence agencies. His fear of freedom is seen in how he replaced the old form of slavery with the capitalistic prison-industrial complex, school-to-prison pipeline. Some will say that our general interpretation of freedom is wrong, and basically we must be free within the guidelines and boundaries of their interpretation and definition of freedom according to law. They have a monopoly on interpretation and definition. So at best we are a slave to their definition and not free to live according to our own understanding of freedom ourselves. What they are calling freedom is equality under white supremacy-based laws. What they are calling freedom is a bundle of rights and privileges that we receive under white supremacy, and not the independent exploration of our own existence unintruded by him. The artificial pursuit of black freedom is defined by a struggle for the equal enslavement as our white counterparts. Whites themselves are not free and are slaves to a Christian Protestant value system mixed with corporate subjugation. So why did they pretend to give blacks freedom if they felt like such an idea is impossible? The idea of giving blacks freedom made them look good, however they do not even believe in freedom. They gave it to blacks to believe in, along with Jesus Christ, Santa Claus, and the Easter Bunny. How can you bestow a freedom that you do not yourself believe exist? How can one of the countries with the largest prison population in the world bestow freedom? The white man cannot conceptualize freedom, which is how we became slaves in the first place. Whites are invasive, intrusive, and exploitive by nature. They cannot leave anyone alone to be free. They have no value or use for free human existence. They can only see things from the perspective of human farming. The Matrix. Nothing has value outside of the control, regulation, distribution, manipulation, and exploitation. The major problem here is blacks have been sold on the idea of freedom by the same person that enslaved them. One group of blacks believe in the propagated artificial idea of the existence of freedom without critically thinking about it. There is another group of blacks who truly believe that they were actively freed and want to test the waters. This is the dangerous group. For the latter group, belief is not enough. This is where all of the racial conflict arises. The white man has locked himself into trying to placate to an idea that he does not truly believe in. The white man's redemption is based on a false idea. If he admits that he did not and cannot free blacks, he is an irredeemable sinner in an irreconcilable situation. His salvation lies in the salvation of his slaves. This is the origin of white guilt. The artificial political idea of freedom is supposed to solve the problem of white guilt. If he admits that he did not and cannot free blacks or return them back to a self they never knew, he will then become an eternal debtor of a debt of which can only be paid with his life or freedom through bondage, torture, or death. The white man had to free us first so we can be integrated into his slave-driven society and managed by them for eternity. because if blacks had freed themselves they would have took over the plantation. The white man has created a Frankenstein and time-ticking bomb in his slaves by interjecting and implanting a false notion of freedom into his vulnerable slave population. He did this in order to escape from his responsibility from an almost irreparable circumstance. The white man's artificial idea of black freedom does not need land or territory, sovereign immunity, self-governance, self-determination, independent leadership, total self-sustainability, control over natural resources, or weapons. All the artificial construct needs is constant white validation, through white-led, influenced, organized, and sponsored organizations, protests, marches, walkouts, boycotts, media manipulation, integration, ongoing never-ending conversation and debate with white slave masters, sellouts, political puppets, racially designed and targeted products, Kwanzaa, national museums, Black History Month, parades, streets and holidays named after black leaders to reinforce the illusion of freedom for blacks in the U.S. under white supremacy nation. What happened is whites have replaced blacks' original cultural and noble identity with the empty and endless pursuit of political and intellectual freedom under white supremacy. Some whites will tell you if you really want freedom, go back to Africa, thus proving that black freedom is not a real idea to them in America. The only problem with this is freedom is a global idea, not a local one. So if he does not respect our freedom in America, what would make us think that he would respect our freedom in Africa? If he could respect our freedom in Africa, we would not be having this conversation to begin with. The idea of black freedom terrorizes whites. They think black freedom mean rape, steal, kill and destroy them. They may be right, however this is their karma and unresolvable problem. The white man is stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he admits he have not and cannot free us, we will destroy him in his irredeemable state, and if he let us continue to pursue the dangerous idea of freedom he gave us, we will ultimately destroy his society. The white man is attempting to micromanage the inevitability of his doom. We are inescapably headed towards a black new world order. This is the end of part 1. Join www.kingnobleuncensored.com, donate and don't hate.